Our HIV/AIDS response work was further strengthened by what took place in Fiji last year. The South Pacific Association of Theological Schools, SPATS for short, launched the Pacific Guide on responding to HIV for Christian ministers, pastors, and communities. Also launched last year was Fiji's Interfaith Strategy on HIV and AIDS 2013 to 2017, which was published by UNICEF and the faith-based organizations of Fiji. Now, these publications gives us further hope and the pastoral reach to be more in touch and to be more effective to our communities. Now, what are the key challenges for Fiji? There has been low HIV testing in the general public. In 2010, there were only 3.3%. However, this is improving greatly, and testing facilities are now available in major towns. There are plans to expand further to other towns, and that is happening. But the greater emphasis is on voluntary testing by individuals and their partners as well to know their status. There has been weak data collection and analysis. This is improving and is getting better. We are now working towards standardizing reporting this year. There is still a need to focus on stigma and discrimination against people living with HIV. This important aspect of our response to HIV must never waver or stall. It must be reinvigorated. There has been inadequate HIV and reproductive health services for women and girls. But however, this has vastly improved in both the urban and rural areas. But again, it needs to get even better. There was once an 88% dependence on external aid. This has dropped significantly. I had earlier indicated that government is now footing the bill for all ART services. There is still low condom use in Fiji in spite of the concerted awareness campaign that we have carried out for years on the need for protection. But the campaign will go on because it has been scientifically proven that the use of condoms prevents the transmission of HIV/AIDS and, most importantly, saves lives. And now, it's your turn. I ask you the $64 million question. And I hope you have the $64 million reply. Otherwise, I'm going to become a very poor man. I'm already a poor man, but I'm a happy man. Where does HIV education begin? See, all of a sudden, quiet. Well, I'll have to help you, but I think you already know. HIV education begins at home, where all good things begin at home. At home from your parents. Your parents are responsible for teaching you the facts of life. And HIV/AIDS today is very much a factor in all our lives, yours and mine. It's a factor in all our lives. Whether we like it or not, it has been around for over 30 years. There has been no cure. So we cannot brush it aside or just take it for granted. We have to do something about it. But you know as well as I do, most parents, and I say most parents, not some parents, most parents believe that it's the job of someone else, right? They believe it's the job of the president to go and talk about HIV/AIDS, not their job. And that's a fact. And I say to parents that they should wake up from their long Rip Van Winkle slumber. And you know about Rip Van Winkle, right? He slept for many years. When he woke up, everything had changed, and he still did not know anything about it. And face their responsibility. Parents must do the hard talking, not to, but with their children, and stop giving the excuses that these matters are taboo. They must talk about HIV/AIDS with their children, their families, and their communities. And HIV/AIDS will only go away by our combined response against this deadly epidemic for which there is no known cure. So parents must be responsible and play their part, which is crucial to our response. I myself have adult single children, and I have been telling them frankly since they were at school in St. Joseph and in Maris, exactly what I'm telling you. Openly and with all the cards on the table. Why do I do that? Because I love them. And I love you no less. And I want you to grow up and achieve your dreams. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here today. And in that connection, I want to say, as a concerned parent, no parent will ever accept the sad fact that with HIV/AIDS, there is a sad possibility that their children, or worse still, their grandchildren, could go, when I say go, could die before they do. Their children or their grandchildren are part of the 15 to 29 age group or the 30 to 39 age group. Now these two groups are usually referred to in UN parlance as the youth group. They are the most sexually active, the bulk of the education and the working population, and the most vulnerable. Parents should talk to their children about HIV/AIDS, about avoiding getting HIV/AIDS, about family values, about being caring, about being careful, about abstinence, about being chaste, about making wise decisions, about practicing safe sex, and about using condoms for protection. Now, I ask you the second $64 million question, and I hope this time you've got the answer as well. What about the teachers? See, I could hear a pin drop. What about the teachers? What do they do? All right, I'll have to help you out, and you owe me one. The thing to remember is most of the teachers are parents as well. That's the thing to remember. Most of the teachers are parents as well. But in an educational environment, teachers are there to assist in this teaching process. But the responsibility must remain with the parent initially. It must be the parent. It must begin at home. As I said initially, that's where all good things begin. And for the benefit of all, I say ensuring safe sex like using condoms, reduces the spread of HIV/AIDS. Why? Because the chance of HIV infection is minimal, because it prevents not only HIV but other sexually transmitted infections. And you heard me on TV before, you've seen it in print. My catchphrase is, get it on before you get it on. So what do I say to you, the youth of this country, sitting here in front of me today? Right? All looking beautiful, handsome, and with all the vim of life in you. What do I say to you? We all want you, as parents, to have your fun. No one is stopping you from having your fun. Enjoy it to the full. Enjoy it to the full. Because that's what part of being young is about. All we say is that think and use common sense. Avoid getting HIV and AIDS. So think, and think again. That is what you must do. Avoid getting HIV/AIDS. Why do I say that? Because your whole future is in front of you. So you can live your dreams. And you have dreams, all of you. Some of you girls might want to become actresses in Bollywood. Some of you guys, actors in Hollywood. Some of you professors, teachers, doctors, engineers, astronauts. The sky is the limit for you. Don't get HIV/AIDS. You already know the reasons why, and we've covered it this morning as well. Avoid get HIV/AIDS because it just complicates your life. Not only your life individually, but the life of the family and your community. And it's an expensive thing. And I strongly believe that we can eradicate HIV/AIDS in Fiji, provided we all work together. You, the youth, us, the parents and the teachers, and all the organizations that I have covered, already mentioned in my statement. Now, in conclusion, I want to tell you about the latest from the United Nations regarding our global response to HIV/AIDS. That is the Vote to End AIDS campaign. The United Nations has launched a broad consultation process for the next global development goals. Now, as part of the post-2015 work, the United Nations has created a crowdsourcing site called My World. Now, on the website, you can vote on an issue you think needs to be part of the post-2015 discussion. An analytic will be shared online to show which issues are trending, and the top issues will be included in milestone meetings around the world. Who knows? Your suggestion might be on the agenda for world leaders in some future meeting. However, you should note that AIDS is not part of the 16 voting options. However, there is also an option to suggest a priority, and that is where we are encouraging you to type in "End AIDS" and give the reasons why. We encourage young people like you who are most affected by the epidemic or whose lives can be affected by the epidemic to exercise your right and vote at www.myworld2015.org. And I'll repeat that part so you can note it. Exercise your right and vote at www.myworld2015.org. Thank you. Vinakawalevu, shukriya, bahut, dainawan.